When we get up in the morning, most of us spend more time thinking about what we're going to wear rather than how we're going to get it on our body. That's because when we were children, our parents taught us well on how to get dressed. Unfortunately, for persons with Alzheimer's disease, oftentimes this knowledge is lost. These individuals need assistance with dressing in the morning, and this program discusses ways to help those individuals get dressed in a dignified way. Remember, even though you may have Alzheimer's disease, you still like looking good.
Dressing requires motor, sensory, and memory functions. That is why it takes children years to master the skill. The first step in dressing is merely motivation and judgment. This is controlled by the brain's frontal lobe. Mild dementia can result in mismatched clothes or redressing in soiled garments. The temporal lobe is the control center for remembering where the clothing is stored and where on the body it belongs. Damage to this lobe means residents may be unable to find the closet or remember what a shoelace is for. And motor skills are coordinated in the parietal lobes. A resident may know that a button needs fastening but be unable to complete the activity. Dressing problems may range from mild, such as forgetting undergarments, to moderate, such as layering lingerie over shirts or pants, to so severe that independent dressing of any form is impossible depending on the stage of dementia.
We are the Low Brothers, and it takes us three for your Alzheimer's patients to dress properly. But chances are that damage to the brain will cause the act of dressing to become a strain. I am the frontal lobe and I motivate. Without me, you would not participate. When I am damaged, you will likely to regress and miss my sturdy clothes, unlikely to impress.
How do you wear your clothing and where does it go? If I'm damaged, I surely won't know. I'm the temporal lobe, I contain the memory, but as dementia sets in, it's history.
Motor skills are what you need to fasten your buttons at amazing speed. But when the parietal lobe gets damaged, that's me, you can't do that activity.
So today's lesson we hope you take to heart is that you can't get dressed if you don't have all three parts. All three parts.
All three parts.
All three parts.
All three parts.
Preparation is key for successfully dressing residents with dementia. First, know the resident's behavioral problems and motor skill difficulties beforehand. Prevention, as always, is easier than problem solving. Second, select clothing items according to the resident's taste and lay them out in the order that they will be put on. Include the resident in choosing the apparel if possible. Always speak respectfully and pleasantly when choosing items and maintain a positive conversational tone throughout the process. Before dressing, certain steps should be followed. Encourage toileting. Check the cleanliness of the clothing articles. Be sure room temperature is agreeable. Secure privacy. During dressing, respect modesty by keeping some clothing, such as a robe, on the resident while dressing.
All right. Okay, now, before you stand up, you better hold on to... Come in.
You have a phone call at the front desk?
Never leave an unclothed resident alone for any reason.
I'll have to call him back.
Okay.
Hold on. And up we go. 1, 2, 3. There you go. Oh, there you go. Got it. Got it? Good. Oh, and you know what? I bet this will be a really nice shirt to wear today.
I don't like that one. I'm not going to wear that today. I don't like it.
You don't like this one?
Have alternative clothing available and a plan should resistance occur.
This, look at the lace on this one. Isn't it pretty? That'll be so nice with those pants.
Remember, residents fall easily, Someone may need to help support the resident during dressing. Continually assure the resident that everything is okay. Do not hesitate to seek help if physical agitation occurs. Dressing is a common time when resident on-staff assaults occur. The dressing process provides an opportunity to look for bruises, injuries, infections, or other evidence of new medical problems. Any sign should be reported immediately. For some families, clothing accountability is important. Clothing should be appropriately marked and stored for use by the resident. Lost clothing or items damaged by other residents should be replaced by the facility at no expense to the residents. Residents should never be redressed with dirty, wet, or soiled clothing. Doing so is neglect. Once dressed, double-check that all clothing is securely fastened. And perhaps most important, compliment the resident on their appearance. All interaction should be used as positive reinforcement.
Hi, I'm Tracy.
And I'm Denton.
And we're your host of TLC's What Not to Wear.
We surprised this week's fashion victim, George Wickmeyer, in his home at the Sunnydale Assisted Living Facility. And boy, is he in need of a makeover.
Oh, man, he is sloppy. His clothes are dirty. I tell you, this guy's gonna be a real challenge.
Well, let's get him in here and get started.
We're standing in front of a rack of George's clothes. Now, as you can see by the way he's dressed today, we're in for quite a treat.
Oh, I would like to point out, if you don't mind, George, the stains, the actual stains on his pants.
That is just terrible. Why would you wear pants with stains on them,
Well,
George?
one of the staff members.
Well, they're just got to go. And what is with these buttons?
Well, my motor skills aren't quite as good as they used to be.
Well, let's just see what's in George's closet. Now, this is terrible. Ooh, it even stinks.
Clothes must be checked for cleanliness before dressing. Some of George's clothes even smell bad, and that is simply unacceptable.
And what is this? This can't be yours, George. Oh, look at this. This dress is marked, but not for George. Martha P. Clothing should be appropriately stored and marked. And while this dress was marked, it was obviously stored in the wrong place. Sorry, Martha.
Not too sorry. By the looks of this dress, Martha could be our next fashion victim.
Tracy, you are so bad.
Well, I see no point in probing further. We're going to obviously have to trash all these clothes.
Oh, without a doubt.
Ew. Bye-bye. Nasty. Well, it's time to see George's new look.
Oh my gosh.
Shut up! No way! George, look at your clothes. They're clean. You look great.
And as you can see, he was dressed by our stylists. Notice the buttons, huh? Looking sharp.
George, you really do look fabulous.
It's also important to compliment. It's important to be positive.
Well, George, what do you think of your new look?
I love it. It just makes me feel so good.
Hopefully your stylist will use our tips.
Well, that wraps up another episode of What Not to Wear. Bye! Can you believe this?
Welcome back to the show. We're here on the streets to find out just what the general run-of-the-mill person thinks about this subject. Let's see if we can find someone. Excuse me. Hi, I'm Jake Mento. I was wondering if you could take a minute to answer a few questions and just tell us how you would respond to these situations. Great. Here's the first question. Mrs. Smith has mild Alzheimer's disease.
Sometimes she comes out of her room in the morning with soiled clothing on. Occasionally, her body has the odor of urine, despite the fact that you know she bathed the night before. What should you do?
Sneak up behind Miss Smith, take a big smell and say, "Smells like somebody wet themselves."
Tell her that she has to change clothes and that dressing in dirty clothes is unacceptable.
I would probably get on to her. I would let her know that no matter how bad she smells, she's never going to leave the assisted living facility.
I need to check and see if the dirty laundry, make sure it goes to the laundry, and also make sure she has clean clothes and lay them out, and also compliment her every now and then.
Okay, very good. Question 2. An 83-year-old resident with mid-stage Alzheimer's disease struggles during the dressing process. He yells at the women who are helping him, "I don't want any woman touching me." This elderly farmer refuses to wear his sweatsuit and demands overalls so he can work on the farm. What should you do?
I would ask for additional medicine to sedate him.
I would call his son and demand that a family member come every day to dress him.
I would let him wear his overalls since that's the type of clothing he's always worn. I would have to get a male assistant to dress him in the morning.
The family really needs to take him home. Right here in this facility, he's unmanageable.
All right, very good. Next question. Ms. Michaels is a 72-year-old woman with dementia. You get her dressed and ask her if she has been to the toilet. She responds that she went to the toilet 15 minutes ago. 1 hour after she is dressed, you find that she has urinated on herself. What's the most likely explanation?
This lady is mean and stubborn and intentionally wetting herself.
Well, it sounds like she's angry at being in the assisted living facility, so she intentionally soils herself.
Seems she can't remember whether she went to the bathroom or not. I should get an assistant to help her to the bathroom.
It seems she's reverting to childhood behavior. I'd get after her about that.
Okay, great. Next question. You've been asked to dress Mrs. Smith, who suffers from Alzheimer's disease. Yesterday, you noticed that she became somewhat agitated during the dressing process, although she seemed to want to cooperate. What are some possible ways to improve her cooperation and lessen her anxiety?
I can make sure I dress her with the door closed so she won't see people looking at her.
Well, I guess I could check the temperature of the room to make sure she isn't getting cold.
I would speak to her calmly and constantly and reassure her that I was going to help.
Well, first I would make sure that I dress her with the door closed and check the temperature in the room, make sure it's not too cold for her, and just reassure her that I'm going to be there to help her out.
Okay, fantastic. You guys were great. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us today. Well, that's it from here. We'll see you next time on The Jake Minto Show.